When people think about Scotland, they often think of the rugged highlands and dramatic coastline, and while these are amazing places to visit, it's often the country's towns, villages and cities that harbour the most interesting stories. Today, I've been invited to the town of Peterhead by Aberdeenshire Council to learn all about the town's history and heritage and uncover its interesting past. Peterhead is the largest town in Aberdeenshire. Known locally as the Blue Toon, this name originating from its long-standing history as a fishing port. Toon means town in Doric, the local dialect, and blue comes from the blue stockings the fishermen from the town used to wear under their sea boots. Coastal towns and villages always have interesting stories to tell, and having such a connection to the coast and fishing industry means Peterhead is full of interesting stories. Today I'm here to walk Peterhead's Town Trail to learn all about its interesting past, and of course, as always, I'm taking you all on the journey with me. So I've downloaded the trail map onto my phone here off of the council's website, and it begins here at the Michaelkirk, which is also known as the Old Peterhead Parish Church, originally opened in 1806. So my task for today is to go around this map here, all around the town of Peterhead, and discover all about its history. So let's get started. The Michaelkirk is the perfect place to begin the town trail. For many generations, it has been the heart of community activities and been a place of worship for the Peterhead townsfolk. Leading on from the kirk, you reach the town centre. Although now home to modern shops and eateries, there is still many remnants of Peterhead's past here. At a spot known as Proclamation Pend, you can see many passageways once used by horse and cart, and learn about the town's drummer, whose job it was to alert residents of danger, such as fire or attack. It's also home to artwork depicting historic events associated with the town, such as the Jacobite risings. For anyone who loves to step back in time, this is the perfect place to reminisce and imagine life from times gone by. If you enjoy artwork, you'll love the sculpture known as Fisher Jessie. For those of you who are familiar with Scottish sculptures, I'm sure you'll be aware of the Kelpies in Falkirk, as well as the Clydesdale horse off of the M8 in Glasgow. Well, this statue here was made by Andy Scott, the sculptor and artist behind them, and this was his first commissioned piece of artwork. Peterhead's past has largely revolved around fishing, and this statue is a fitting tribute to the part women have played in the industry over the years. The townhouse can also be seen in the town centre. At a time when import taxes were high, this building is believed to once have connections with illegal smuggling. Contraband is believed to have been hidden under the building's sandy floor to stop people having to pay import tax on goods such as tea and brandy. This is also the spot that you can learn about Peterhead's past as a resort for people visiting the nearby spa and mineral waters. These waters were believed to have healing powers, and coaches full of people would travel from Aberdeen to visit and enjoy them several days a week. Having such close connections to the sea, Peterhead has been vulnerable to attack during wars and from pirates. This replica cannon is a tribute to its defensive past and is an impressive spot to visit. Next we head down to the harbour, which is home to some pretty interesting stories. In the 1700s, a new townhouse was built here, which became home to the largest smuggling network in the town. A secret passage from the harbour to the townhouse was created, where contraband could be hidden. Across from this, a large graving dock built in 1855 can be seen, showcasing part of Peterhead's long-lasting maritime history. Everybody likes a good ghost story, and in the olden days there used to be an old lodging house here that would sort of harbour a lot of the fishermen and everything, and it long closed down and became an engineering works. But even once that happened, people began to hear footsteps and doors opening and closing in empty rooms and corridors. Although this was a sinister thing for them all to experience, they became used to the sound of it, and they named the ghost Auld Harry. Next, the trail leads us on to Rowans Head and Buckenhaven. Once separate from Peterhead itself, these villages were home to the communities who made their money from the sea. Home to rocky outcrops and coastal paths, this is a great place to explore and discover the many sea creatures that call this shoreline home. Along this stretch is also where you'll find the last spa. When the mineral waters learnt about earlier in the trail began to decline in quality, this spot here is where the final attempt to recover Peterhead's reputation as a waters resort took place. I think one of the interesting things about Peterhead is that it's made up of 4 separate villages, or originally there were 4 separate villages, one of which is the one behind me here, which is known as Buckenhaven, and it was once home to one of the most successful sort of fishing harbours in the whole of the coastline here. Sadly, due to the increase in size of fishing boats and that, they had to start using the main Peterhead harbour, but it's interesting to be here and to hear the history of this smaller village part of Peterhead. As you continue through Buckenhaven to the outskirts of the town, you reach Yugi Estuary. This is home to a lovely sandy beach and is a fantastic spot to watch wildlife. It's also home to one of the longest established golf courses in the world and the oldest working smokehouse in Scotland. As you begin to walk back into the town, you'll come across Yugi Hospital. Here you can learn all about Peterhead's history with the infamous bubonic plague and see the spot of the town's first fever hospital, opened in 1865 in response to the cholera outbreak in parts of Britain. As you head back to the town centre, you come across the town's community centre and secondary school. This was once the site of the town's railway station. As well as taking passengers to Aberdeen, it was also well used to distribute fish throughout the world and export polished Peterhead granite, which was used to build buildings around the world. To end the trail, we are taken to Peterhead's first prison and police station, as well as the Aberthnot Museum. This museum is home to many antiques, coins and objects relating to natural history, brought back from maritime adventures. The most prized of which includes ethnographic material acquired from the Arctic and China in 1820. The Peterhead Trail is currently being extended to include some more locations on the south end of the town, which I also took the time to visit. One place I've really been looking forward to exploring on this town trail is this old graveyard here that towers over the south side of the town. And this graveyard is home to some really interesting people, some really interesting stories and some really interesting graves. So I'm excited to take a walk around it now and uncover some of this town's history, some of the people who have, played a really big role in this town and the surrounding area, and learn a little bit more about their stories and their past. Equipped with some information on my phone, I headed into the graveyard to uncover its past. Graves of interest included the lighthouse keepers and families from the nearby Buckenhaven lighthouse and an unknown fisherman. One of the main visitor attractions in Peterhead is the 5-star Peterhead Prison Museum. Once known as one of the toughest prisons in Scotland, this museum tells many shocking stories of its past, such as the famous riot in 1987. To end my day out in Peterhead, I headed up to the Reform Tower, which was built in 1832. This spot allows you to see panoramic views over the town and is a great place to recap on my day out, exploring the Peterhead Town Trail. Now this is nice, just come up the hill to this tower that towers above the town. You can't miss it when you come to Peterhead, you'll see this tower no matter what. But it's so great because the view up here is so beautiful. You've got all the town here, panoramic views of the town, just showcasing how big it actually is. And as you come round here, you've got the shore, all the industrial, the harbour, all the oil areas. And then you've got the beautiful sea, beaches and coastline there. It really shows off the scale of this town, showcases why it is the largest town in Aberdeenshire. And the views are just cracking.